Ever feel like before you even really open your eyes, your brain's already running a marathon? Like the to-do list is just scrolling nonstop and deadlines are right there in your face.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe you hit that end of day point. It's like, wait, where did the time even go?
Hmm.
And those goals you had are still just, sitting there untouched.
Totally get that. It's like a universal struggle, right?
Yeah.
Juggling time and energy demands all the time.
Yeah, pretty much everyone's dealing with that in our world.
Which brings us to why we're here. Welcome to the deep dive, where we cut through all that info overload so you don't have to.
Exactly. We do the digging, find those nuggets of wisdom, and maybe add a little something to keep things interesting. All for you, the learner.
Today, we're diving deep into the world of early rising.
You, our listeners, sent us tons of requests about Tsukamoto Ryo's work, especially his take on those morning habits.
So we're exploring his personal journey, but also the psychology behind it all.
And our mission, to show you the real potential in waking up earlier. We'll give you practical strategies to actually make it a habit, and most importantly, how to use those early hours to be more productive and just feel better overall.
We don't want this to feel like another thing on your plate.
Right. It's about empowerment, not pressure.
So let's jump in. Tsukamoto Ryo's story is seriously impressive.
Absolutely. The guy was struggling in high school. He said his academic standing was way low, like a deviation score around 30.
Meaning way below average.
Yeah, and then bam, he gets suspended from school.
A turning point, right?
Exactly. He starts reading, gets inspired to improve himself, and most importantly, starts waking up early.
And the change was huge. He not only got into Doshisha University, but also Cambridge. I mean, that's incredible. What's amazing is that he sees this direct link. It wasn't just that he improved and then started waking up early. It was the waking up early that really sparked everything.
That's what's so powerful about his message. He calls those morning hours the golden time for your brain.
Makes sense. After sleep, your mind is like a fresh slate ready to absorb things.
Exactly. He compares it to a well-tilled field ready for planting. Your brain is just primed for learning.
I feel that. My focus is always sharper before the day's craziness kicks in.
Right. And he also talks about how early rising boosts your confidence. He went from feeling learned helplessness, like nothing you do makes a difference, to truly believing that if he tried, he could succeed.
So powerful. Taking action early and seeing those results, even small wins, builds your self-esteem.
Absolutely. And it goes back to that idea that when we do things really matters. Studying late at night when you're tired, probably after a meal, blood sugar's all over the place, that's not prime time.
Versus that morning focus when you're fresh.
Exactly. It ties into self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to actually get things done. Early rising creates this positive feedback loop. You're productive, you feel good. It reinforces that belief in yourself.
I love that concept. And let's be honest, so many of us feel like we never have enough time for the things we want to do, studying, exercising, hobbies.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tsukamoto Ryo flips the script. He doesn't see early rising as losing sleep, but gaining time.
It's a mindset shift.
Yeah.
You're not sacrificing, you're creating. You're making those morning hours count.
Quality over quantity, for sure. Okay, the why is super compelling, but let's get to the how.
Yeah.
Because for me, and I bet for a lot of our listeners, early rising just equals pain.
It's a struggle, right?
Yeah.
But Tsukamoto Ryo addresses this head on. He says there's a huge difference between waking up thinking I want to versus I have to.
And bridging that gap, feeling that want instead of that have to, is the challenge.
Exactly. And he gives us 4 secrets to enjoying early rising. Seeking pleasure, being kind to yourself, good sleep, and creating rituals you actually like.
I'm already liking this. So much better than just white-knuckling it on willpower alone. What are some practical tips to make this all feel less daunting?
Well, he starts with motivation and links it directly to that pursuing pleasure idea. He talks about making a wish list.
Oh, so things you actually look forward to doing.
Yeah. A refreshing jog, getting lost in a book, studying something you love, whatever sparks joy for you.
So you wake up excited, not dreading the day.
That's the goal. He says, think pursuing pleasure, not avoiding pain. It makes a huge difference in your motivation.
Makes total sense. What about improving sleep quality? We all know it's important, but how do we actually do it?
He's got some great tips. First, he talks about melatonin, our sleep hormone, and how light affects it.
Right, dim the lights before bed.
Yes. And absolutely minimize screen time. Those phones and TVs emit blue light, which messes with melatonin production.
So dimming those screens directly helps your body get ready for sleep. Tough, but important.
Totally. He also says avoid hot showers or baths right before bed. They raise your body temperature, making it harder to cool down, which you need to do to fall asleep.
Good point. What about eating?
Early dinners are best, and avoid those heavy meals late at night. And of course, no caffeine or alcohol close to bedtime. They totally throw off your sleep patterns.
All solid advice for good sleep. Now, what about that be kind to yourself secret? How do we put that into practice?
That's where sleep journaling comes in. Tsukamoto Ryo suggests spending a few minutes before bed writing down your to-do list for the next day.
Unloading all those tasks.
Exactly. There's this thing called the Zeigarnik effect. Basically, unfinished tasks stay on your mind, making it hard to relax.
That's why I can't switch off sometimes.
Right. Writing them down gives your brain permission to let go for a bit.
Brilliant tip. I'm trying that tonight.
He also says write down any negative emotions or worries you have. Research shows that processing them on paper can actually reduce anxiety, which often disrupts sleep.
So good, especially when your mind's racing at night. Now, before we get to morning rituals, he had some tips about consistency with sleep, too, right?
Yes. Tracking your sleep is crucial. He says log your bedtime and wake-up time in a planner.
So you can see how much sleep you're really getting.
Exactly. And spot any patterns or inconsistencies. That leads to his next point, waking up at a fixed time every day. It's all about your circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock.
Like our natural sleep-wake cycle.
Yep. Keeping it consistent is key. He personally aims for around 6 hours of sleep, but stresses that finding your optimal sleep duration and sticking to a consistent wake-up time is what matters most, even if you have to adjust your bedtime to make it work.
So finding that routine and then sticking with it.
Absolutely. And he takes it a step further, saying, wake up around the same time, even on weekends.
Oof, that's where I struggle. Those weekend lions are so tempting.
I know, but he's adamant about it. It prevents disrupting your biological clock in those tough Monday mornings. He says maybe allow yourself an hour later than your weekday wake-up, but no major oversleeping.
Interesting, because we often think we're catching up on sleep, but
Studies show it's not truly restorative. It can actually make you less productive the next week.
counterintuitive, but good to know. Okay, let's talk about those enjoyable morning rituals. How do we figure out what works for us?
Well, he gives examples of super successful people, like Howard Schultz from Starbucks and Richard Branson, who swear by their morning rituals.
So it's not about jumping straight into work.
No, it's about incorporating things you actually like that set a positive tone for the day. Savoring your coffee, listening to music time with a pet, a creative hobby, quiet reflection, whatever feels good.
Making those first moments something you look forward to, not dread.
Exactly. He links this to operant conditioning. Those enjoyable rituals become like rewards, making you more likely to get out of bed.
I'm all about making waking up early more appealing.
Okay.
Okay, we've got the motivation and the practical steps down. Now, how do we use those golden hours effectively?
This is when your brain is at its peak, so prioritize tasks that need focus, complex thinking, creative energy. He used his mornings for intense academic work all through university and even at Cambridge.
Capitalizing on your mental prime time.
Exactly. He also mentions research by Laura Vanderkam that shows willpower is strongest in the morning. There's an example of a student, Buchan, who improved his English significantly just by switching his study time to the morning.
Makes sense. Front load those challenging tasks when your brain's ready to go.
He also distinguishes between thinking-based learning, like reading and writing, which are perfect for mornings, and task-based learning like memorization, which can be done later.
So prioritize strategically for maximum productivity.
Exactly. What about those first few minutes after waking up?
Any tips to get the brain going?
He suggests 3 things right away. First, sunlight. Open those curtains to reset your biological clock and boost serotonin production.
That's our mood and alertness booster, right?
Yep. Second, a quick cool shower can help shift you from that sleepy parasympathetic state to a more alert sympathetic state.
Interesting. And third?
Engage your senses. Enjoy the aroma of your coffee or tea. Those scents can actually stimulate the brain and help you focus.
Okay, so we're up, we're energized, brains ready to roll. How do we maintain that focus and avoid distractions?
He gives 5 key tips. First, set time limits. Use a timer, a stopwatch, even an hourglass. That little bit of pressure can really boost concentration.
Almost like the Pomodoro technique working in focused intervals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He also says break big tasks into smaller time-boxed chunks. Makes them less overwhelming.
Love that second tip.
Review your schedule. Check it the night before and again in the morning. It keeps you aware of your priorities and why you're waking up early.
Like a roadmap for the day.
Exactly. He talks about a student, Eskun, who got way better at time management and improved his English just by planning his week and reviewing it daily.
Okay, third tip.
Decide on your departure time in advance. If you know you need to leave for work or an appointment by a certain time, it creates a deadline.
That makes sense. That external pressure can help.
He uses the example of having to leave for the Cambridge Library by a certain time. It really helped his focus.
Okay, what about the last 2 tips for staying focused?
Change your environment. He says coffee shops can be great for focused work. Fewer distractions than at home, plus that ambient noise can actually help some people concentrate.
And libraries are obviously great for focus, too.
Absolutely. He even mentions vicarious reinforcement. Seeing others working hard can subconsciously motivate you to do the same.
It's like a positive peer pressure situation. Find those environments where you're surrounded by focused energy.
Exactly. The 5th and final tip is rest well in the evening. By prioritizing your mornings for those key tasks, you create a natural deadline for yourself. And then your brain can truly relax at night.
No work hanging over your head.
He gives the example of a student, Okun, who really improved his English by studying in the morning and then letting himself unwind in the evenings.
So it all ties together. Maximize the morning, then rest and recharge. Now, Tsukamoto Ryo also specifically mentions reading and language learning in the morning.
Yes. He says morning is prime time for absorbing information. It's like the cocktail party effect. Your brain can focus on what's important to you even in a noisy environment.
Because you're fresh and alert.
Exactly. Reading in the morning makes the information stick better. He even recommends physical books during your commute, if you have one.
Makes the learning feel more real-world and applicable. He also has 3 specific training methods for English learners, right?
Yes. First, online English conversation lessons. They offer benefits beyond just language learning.
Like commitment and interaction.
Exactly. He suggests doing them for at least 90 days and reviewing immediately afterwards. One tip he gives is to write down things you couldn't express and look them up later.
Active learning based on real conversation. So helpful. Second method.
Shadowing. You listen to English and repeat it with a slight delay. It trains your ear and helps you internalize the rhythm and intonation of the language.
Like you're shadowing the speaker.
Exactly. Start with easier content and focus on the sounds more than understanding every word.
Like training your ear and vocal cords to work together.
And the third method is building your own English martial arts manual.
Now that sounds interesting.
It's about collecting useful English phrases from sources like BBC News. First, understand the main idea, then pinpoint those cool phrases. He even suggests using quotes in Google search to find exact phrases. Then try using them yourself.
Building a personal vocabulary toolbox. So creative. Finally, he talks about creating a whole morning ritual for success.
Yes. He stresses the benefits of morning exercise, even just 20-30 minutes. It activates your brain, boosts cognitive function, and lifts your mood. He mentions how crowded the gyms were in Cambridge every morning.
People getting that morning boost. So the takeaway is to structure your morning intentionally, whether it's reading language learning exercise or just enjoying your tea with focus. It's about setting yourself up for success and well-being.
Couldn't agree more. It's about taking control of those early hours and using them to achieve your goals.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Tsukamoto Ryo's work, it's clear that mornings offer huge potential.
It's not about forcing yourself or losing sleep, but being strategic and using that time to your advantage.
And his strategies are backed by both personal experience and psychology. This isn't just random advice, it's a practical roadmap.
Absolutely. A roadmap for you, our listeners.
So here's something to think about. What's one enjoyable activity, even a small one, that you could realistically add to your morning routine? Maybe even tomorrow. How could that little change affect the rest of your day and even help you reach your bigger goals? We challenge you to experiment. Be curious and discover what truly works for you. Find those golden hours that unlock your potential support. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.